I never believed silence could scream, until that night. It was the kind of silence that hangs heavy, thick with warning, the kind that tells you your life is about to split into a before and an after. I stood in the doorway of my own bedroom, a bouquet of flowers in my hand, watching the woman I had loved for 12 years tangled in the sheets with a man I had never even seen before. She didn't notice me at first. Her laughter, light, careless, familiar, filled the room like a knife twisting slowly. And in that moment, something inside me cracked in a way I knew would never fully heal. My name is Daniel. I always prided myself on being a devoted husband, steady, patient, maybe even too forgiving for my own good. My wife, Amanda, used to call me the calm in her chaos. I thought it was romantic. Later I realized it meant something very different. For years, I believed we were building a life together, brick by brick, sacrifice after sacrifice. I supported her through college when she decided to go back. I worked overtime shifts so she wouldn't have to worry about bills. I trusted her completely, so completely that I never thought to question the late night study sessions, or the sudden interest in gym workouts she'd never cared about before. The night everything fell apart wasn't planned. I came home early from a business trip with a surprise, flowers, her favorite takeout, and the good news that I had finally gotten the promotion we'd been praying for. I wanted to tell her in person. I wanted to see her smile. Instead, I walked in on a nightmare that no man prepares himself for. Amanda froze when she saw me. Her face went pale, and then she scrambled to cover herself, as if modesty mattered now. The man beside her, a stranger with a tattoo across his shoulder, just stared at me, wide-eyed, like a kid caught stealing cookies. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I didn't ask why. I just dropped the flowers, heard them hit the floor, and said the words I never thought I'd need. Get out. Amanda tried to explain, of course. They always do in stories like this. She said it just happened, that she had been feeling lonely, that I had been working too much. Each excuse felt like another knife, but I didn't flinch. I simply told her to leave the house. And for the first time in our marriage, she actually listened to me. After she left, the house felt wrong. Too quiet. Too large. Like a museum of memories I didn't want anymore. I spent nights pacing the living room, replaying every moment of the past year, trying to figure out where I had failed. I blamed myself at first, maybe I hadn't been affectionate enough, maybe I'd focused too much on work. But those thoughts faded when I discovered the truth. A week after the separation, her friend, one of the few honest people in her life, told me Amanda had been cheating for months. Not once. Not twice. Several times. Different men. Different lies. My marriage hadn't broken in one night, it had been crumbling long before I even noticed the cracks. The betrayal hit me like a second heartbreak. Still, I tried to hold myself together. I focused on my job. I kept the house clean. I ate when I remembered to. But grief has a way of catching you even when you pretend you're fine. One night, while standing in the kitchen washing dishes, I felt my chest tighten. I slid to the floor and cried. Really cried, in a way I hadn't since my father passed away. It wasn't just the loss of a wife. It was the loss of the future I thought we were building together. But life has a strange way of guiding us, even through pain. About a month after she moved out, I joined a local hiking group my coworker recommended. I didn't go to meet people, I went because the house felt claustrophobic, and I needed air. That's where I met Sarah. She wasn't loud or flirtatious or overly cheerful. She was quiet, kind, grounded. She noticed me lagging behind the group and matched her pace to mine. We talked, casually at first, then more deeply over the next few weeks. She never pushed. She just listened. One day, after a long hike, she said something that stuck with me. You didn't deserve what happened. But you do deserve to heal. It was simple, but it hit me harder than any apology Amanda ever gave. Sarah and I didn't start dating right away. I wasn't ready, and she respected that. Instead, she became a friend, someone who reminded me that not every person in the world is capable of the cruelty I experienced. Meanwhile, Amanda tried to come back into my life. She called, texted, emailed, everything short of showing up at my door. She apologized, begged, blamed herself, blamed stress, blamed anything she could. But every time I looked at her messages, all I saw was that image burned into my memory, her in my bed with someone else. The kind of betrayal you don't forgive, no matter how many tears are shed. The final turning point came when she asked for another chance to make things right. She said she had changed. She said she was going to therapy. She said she realized she loved me more than ever. But I had changed too. I had learned that love doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It doesn't mean sacrificing your worth for someone who sees you as replaceable. So I told her the truth. I love myself more now. Closing the chapter wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Months passed. I healed slowly, piece by piece, like reconstructing a broken vase. There were still days when the memory stung, but it no longer controlled me. And gradually, something new formed in the empty spaces. Sarah and I eventually did start dating. Not because she replaced Amanda. No one replaces anyone, but because she walked beside me while I rebuilt myself. She showed me that trust can grow again, that kindness still exists, and that love is possible even after heartbreak. A year later, my life looks completely different. Not perfect. Not a fairy tale. But peaceful. Honest. Mine. And if there's one message I'd leave for anyone going through something similar, it's this: being cheated on doesn't make you unworthy. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you failed. Sometimes people choose to betray simply because they lack the integrity to stay loyal. But their actions are not a reflection of your value. Walking away was the hardest thing I ever did, but it's also the reason I can finally breathe again. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply choosing to live a life full of peace, self-respect, and love that's real.